Now that Kevin Durant has made his decision, the rest of free agency is going to move very quickly. And the first piece to drop is Pau Gasol. He's going to the San Antonio Spurs. A great pickup for the Spurs and a great fit for Gasol. He signed a 2-year, $30 million deal. Now, the interesting thing about this is that Tim Duncan is strongly considering retiring from basketball now. He's old. He's getting up there. The reason he was hanging around is because his team is still good. Very good indeed. And he was hoping that he could go out with one more championship. But now I think with Kevin Durant going to the Warriors, I think he's ready to call it quits. That might be all the motivation he needs to finally step away from the game. And you can't blame him because the Spurs, they already had trouble with the Warriors before Kevin Durant. In fact, last season, they played the Warriors 2 times at the end of the season. They had a chance to prevent the Warriors from breaking the Chicago Bulls record, but they lost both of those games, and they lost those games convincingly. Now, obviously, the regular season isn't the playoffs, so maybe in a series they would have done better. Maybe they could have taken them out if they matched up. But it was a very tough matchup, as you could see from the regular season meetings. And now with Durant being there, it's even tougher. Now that the Golden State Warriors have Kevin Durant, the Dallas Mavericks have signed Harrison Barnes to a max deal. 4 years, $94 million. This is a good pickup for the Mavs. Barnes is a great player. He had a rocky finals this year. He was great in the first 2 games, but then he kind of disappeared as the series went on. But you can't forget that the season before in the finals, he came up clutch. He had some big dunks, some and ones. He had some big shots to clinch the title, to help them clinch the title the season before. So he's a very good pickup. And the Mavericks, they've been trying to get somebody else for years now. Dirk has been taking less money. I saw something the other day that calculated how much money Dirk has left on the table. It's something like $70 million over the last few seasons. Dirk wants to retire with one more championship. He wants to make one more run, so he's been sacrificing money to do that. And if you remember last year, they had DeAndre Jordan. He verbally agreed to join the Dallas Mavericks, and then he went back on his verbal word, his verbal commitment, and went back to the Clippers. Remember that disaster with the Clippers locking him in his own house, them campaigning to get him to stay? That was a mean L last season, but now they're getting a player to sign to join up with Dirk, and they're also going to get Andrew Bogut. The Warriors are going to send Andrew Bogut to the Mavericks to clear that cap space so they can sign Kevin Durant. The Mavericks, they take the bait. They help them out there a little bit, but it is a good move for the Mavericks. They're adding in 2 quality players. And throughout this free agency process, I've seen a lot of Mavericks fans leaving comments saying, wow, the Mavericks aren't picking up anybody. As people are getting signed left and right, they're disappointed in the Mavs. Well, now the Mavs are making some moves. So let me know what you think about these acquisitions. But now we got to talk about the Warriors because they're trying to make moves. They're trying to fill in that roster. They got rid of Azili. They are not keeping Azili. He's gone. Bogut is now gone. But they just signed Zaza Pachulia. And this is a decent big man. He's a decent center. He can rebound, but he's not going to block any shots for you. He is not a rim protector. He's decent on offense, though. So even though they picked up this center, they don't solve any of their problems that they're going to have in the paint. They still have this weakness of not being able to protect the paint. And hopefully NBA teams do not trade them the center that they need. The only guys that the Warriors can afford to sign now are going to be guys like Zaza. Guys that average 0.3 blocks per game. They're not rim protectors. They're going to get a bunch of centers like that. So they're still going to have this weakness of defending the paint unless some dumb NBA team decides to send them in a trade the center that they need. So we'll have to watch the rest of this summer, the rest of the season, and see if anybody does something dumb. But I don't think they will. I think they're going to unite the same way they united against the Miami Heat, not allowing them to get the center that they need. So if the Warriors are going to win, they're going to have to win without that center. And that gives them a weakness. That's at least something that every team, they know that when they play the Warriors, the strategy is going to be to attack the paint, pound the paint. They've got no shot blocking, get those guys in foul trouble. That's their only weakness at this point. Since the Miami Heat couldn't get Kevin Durant, they're focusing in on Dwayne Wade. They've offered him a 2-year deal for $40 million, $20 million a season, and they're giving Wade a player option for next season, which means if he opts out next season, when the cap goes up again to the highest point ever in NBA history, he could then potentially get signed for max money, his biggest contract, and retire on the Heat. Retire with that Max Kobe type contract, but we'll have to wait and see. After Durant signed with the Golden State Warriors, Wade tweeted that relationships are important, people. What does that mean? Does that mean that he's looking to team up with LeBron James again? Are we going to see a banana boat team? Does that mean he's looking to stay with the Heat and bring somebody else? We'll have to wait and see. And the funny thing about the Warriors is that they don't even need Kevin Durant to win a championship. They were one win away from winning it again. They made some new moves. They made some mistakes. Draymond Green got himself suspended. Bogut got injured, which was very unfortunate. And then they lost the series. But they could have won